Hello everybody and welcome back to Screen Stars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the 2020 horror film Abominable. This is a film that is directed by Jamal Burden and it stars Robert Berlin and Katrina Matson. Now, who out there, fans of the horror genre, who doesn't like Bigfoot films, Sasquatch films, Abominable Snowman films? Of course you do, we all do. I personally, ever since I was young, and watching this film, it reminded me of a film that had a big impact on me when I was a kid, and it was a film called Snow Beast, and I think it was a TV movie. I haven't seen it for a long time, but it really scared me as a kid. Really made a big impact on me. It's probably terrible now, I don't know, but I'll try and seek it out and maybe watch it and review it for the channel. And that's the kind of thing I hope for when I watch these type of films, especially ones like this with an Abominable Snowman one, is to have that kind of fear. And what is this film about? Well, this film focuses on like a research team that is on the search for this very, very rare plant that could potentially develop a miracle cure for all the major ailments out in the world. However, this research team doesn't count on the fact that there is an abominable snowman stalking the team one by one and is not happy on allowing them to look for this rare plant on his patch, if you like. Right, so that's the basic premise of the film here. Now, the premise sounds okay. What I was hoping for was a kind of like, this research team, and I think this premise could have really worked. Like a research team being stalked, hunted by this creature. Slowly but surely, and really build the tension and see them getting taken out one by one in increasingly terrifying ways. Now you kind of get half of that with this film. What you don't get with this film is one that really makes an awful lot of sense. Initially the film, I found it had quite a poor setup, that you had loads of characters but you had no real idea of who they were, why they were there. It just seemed many of them were there just to get mauled by the creature, and literally within the first few minutes of watching this, you're watching people getting mauled by this creature and dragged about by this creature, and these people running around these snowy woods shooting the weapons at seemingly nothing and then getting mauled by this creature. And you're kind of like, whoa, give us a minute to breathe, set up your story, what's going on? And because it started like that, it got to that frustrating part in the film where many of the characters were explaining things just for pure exposition, to give them a reason to be there and things like that. And I think the story could have been told better. I think for a film, it's too rushed. I think it was something like 70 minutes long, something like maybe a little bit longer, this film. It felt too rushed. It needed a little bit more time to breathe, a little bit more time for us to be introduced to these characters, to even know their names. Many of them you don't even know who they are, or what their names are, and the ones you do see in more than one or two scenes, you don't really have any established way of knowing who they are and what their names are really either. There's only a couple of central characters, and even those I think were poorly written. They do try and give one or two of them a little bit of a backstory, but it feels kind of tacked on. So what you end up with are these faceless, nameless people running around this snowy wood, getting chased by this creature, and it reduces tension because you don't care about them and you don't fear for them. And I thought that was a mistake, if you like. Films like this, you need to have this tension built up slowly. Less is more sometimes, and this film goes down the route too quickly of showing too much, I think. Now if you've got a multi-million pound budgeted film with fantastic special effects, practical effects, maybe you could get away with that. However, what we don't really have that here. And I'm not saying the creature effects are really terrible, because I don't think they are. I think they're adequate and passable, and at times quite impressive, but at other times it just looks like a man in a suit. There's no getting away from it, and they show a little bit too much too soon, I think, anyway. So it's a hard film to like, but it does have some things going for it, this film. It does have, I think, some incredibly gory deaths and really impactful death scenes. I mean, it really shocked me. We're talking about limbs getting ripped off and, you know, all that kind of stuff. It doesn't hold back in that area, so I think hardcore horror fans will get a kick out of aspects of this film. It does deliver in that department, I would say. It just fails to deliver in other departments, which is a real shame, because if it had put a bit more time, I think, in the characters and the dialogue and the setup, I think this film would have been elevated far beyond what we're actually given. What we're actually given is it's like a Abominable Snowman slasher film, basically. And that's essentially what we're getting by watching this film, because they don't pay enough attention to the rest of it. So for me, there's too much wrong with this film to really enjoy it. I think it could have been a really cheesy, enjoyable film if they'd have given a bit more attention to the dialogue and the characters and given them some more personality and things like that, and maybe been a bit cleverer with how they displayed the creature early on in the film. So for that, I'm going to have to give it a 4 out of 10. It just didn't hit home with me. I do think it's a bit of a missed opportunity. These films can usually do very well with audiences because they're very popular, and I think this unfortunately misses the mark in a lot of areas. So that's my review for Abominable. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much for watching, and of course I'll see you back for more reviews on Screen Stars very soon.